Welcome back everyone to another sewing vlog. I have decided to do a cosplay that I did maybe 6 years ago to this date. Hi everyone, if you know me, you know exactly what I'm planning on doing, but if you don't know me, here's a little bit of history for me. For those of you who are new, hi, I'm Mad M, and I'm actually a Madoka Magica cosplayer. Though I haven't cosplayed the main girls in quite a while, I want to revisit their costumes in the near future. But today I'm going to be focusing on a spin-off called Magia Record, or Record, depending on how you really want to say it. Originally, Magia Record Side Story started off as a gacha game for mobile users, but unfortunately as of 2020, the servers here in the United States no longer operate the game, and it's really such a shame because I absolutely loved it. I love the story and I love the art, but there is an upside. The game got its own anime, and I absolutely love the anime, even though it deviates from the story of the game. I still love the animations. It's so beautiful, so crisp, so clean. It's just, I just love it. It's just amazing. One of these days I will be doing a video on one of the main girls from that, but for right now I am focusing on the antagonists. I say antagonist here because there's no true villain. I mean, I guess if you really wanted to count Kyubey as technically the villain, but he's not really a villain. He's an antagonist. He's unfeeling. His motives are only to save the universe, and that's it. But I don't want to get into spoiler talk. Now, as much as I would really love to remake the design of my Kyubey, I have decided to do a different antagonist, which her name is Alina Gray. Alina Gray is one of the Wings of the Magias, a fringe group of magical girls that were trying to save them from their fate. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, so all I'll say is this. They are a force of nature. Alina Gray's look is to resemble a warden because her wish was to have a space to do her art. I want an atelier where no one can bother me, which is where her color schemes come from, but I'll get into that later. Start off before construction, let's talk about fabric. The majority of this cosplay is made out of suede. The skirt, the vest, is all suede. And suede is really hard to work with sometimes, especially when it starts to pile up on itself. But I think it makes it look nice and crisp and clean, and I originally used suede for the first iteration of this cosplay. And I wanted to bring that back into this new one. There is a little bit of organza around the sleeves, a little cotton for the bands around the arm. Basically, I just tried to use whatever I had lying around just to use it because I don't like wasting things. As I mentioned, I have made this cosplay before. I don't have any pictures of it because it was like, it wasn't the best. But I do have some videos. The reason why I wanted to remake this is because I have a performance plan for Zenkai Con that happens in Lancaster, PA. If you're there, come say hi. And another reason why I wanted to remake this is because sometimes it's nice to remake something and see how much you've progressed in your skills and how much you've improved. So with that said, let's get started. Now, I have already made a mock-up of this pattern, which ended up being a little short, so I extended the bottom part of it. I only did it in one piece to save on paper and measured the edges. I am also putting a lining in this, so I have to cut out all the same pieces 4 times. The little triangles that I traced onto a portion of the vest are darts. After sewing them, I ironed them down, and then I decided to reduce the bulk by cutting the excess fabric away. This allows the fabric to mold to my body better, and I added a bit of interfacing to the front piece to keep it sturdy for the collar and closure. I don't like wasting stuff, so I just grabbed random pieces of interfacing that I already cut and just had lying around and matched them up to the front piece. I did the same thing for the collar and sewed the lining fabric onto it. I did not bag line this because I have to add bias tape to make the design on the collar. Now that the prep is done, it's time to put it together. I am putting a piece of flattened bias tape on the front like she has on her vest, but it may be more on a diagonal than I really would have liked it to be, but that's fine. It's okay. I wanted to do the lining first because the lining could get taken and then also edit the pattern to do on the main bit. But I don't think I have to since I already did it once and it fits. I'm really happy. There will be a zipper here. And I did the collar a certain way. So that's not gonna be a problem. And then I got to get black binding to go all the way around. I gotta make what's it called? A panel that goes right in the front to hide the zipper. And then, yeah, I've done this before, so I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to be doing with it. Actually, I should probably go get that one real quick. Hold on. All right, here's the original. As you can see, it's a little crusty with the paint, but that's not what we're worrying about today. So we can put that over to the side. This is the original vest that I made. I might take the sleeves off because the sleeves look really good, or I might just take them apart. I'm not 100% sure. I probably still have some of this fabric left over somewhere, and it wouldn't be too hard to make sleeves again. But as you can see, there's binding here, and it's like sewn in like that. I don't remember. Yeah, I just went over. I don't think I did do a bag lining up at the top, and I apologize. But here's the zipper, and this is where I messed up. This is just like normal cotton next to this way. This will probably be a suede panel. The zipper is kind of really bad because I didn't secure the top off right. You can see where the binding ends. I mean, I'm gonna have to get some binding for in here. This is like really, yeah, so before I sew anything else, then I gotta put these on to where these points meet up before I sew these on. I think these were after the fact that I put these on. But I didn't do the darts. Let's take a look at the back. The back is okay. It's just the same as like any back. Is that about the same size? Hold on. Yeah, no, I was wrong. This is definitely different. I did this differently. The pattern. Yeah, I was wrong, so I did do this differently. And the pattern was, I probably followed the pattern that I bought to a T. And then the edges down here aren't even finished, which is zigzagged off. And then looking at the collar, it looks like these two pieces of suede together instead of just doing a lining part underneath to make it less thick. And then like if you look at the binding, it's like really, really bad. I made this in 2019, actually. I feel like I've come much farther than what I did here. So yeah, the differences I'm gonna be doing are significant. I'll probably use thinner binding here. I'm gonna attach this before I put it on the lining. That way it's not as thick. Oh, and I only lined part of it. I didn't line this part, and I should have. Because it looks... Why is it red? I don't know what turned it red, but it's something that turned red. And then up here, it's just like, it's only partially bag lined, and then it goes all the way down. It's not the greatest, although I do like this. This is the best part of it. Alright, so I am going to finish up today with putting the fashion layer, the suede layer together. And forget about this whole thing. Now to attach the collar and the funky bias tape design onto it. This part was tricky on the first cosplay, and still kind of is for me. It took me about an hour to get it right and sewn down. With that, the collar is done and attached. It's time to put the lining in. I ended up changing how the zipper went in because the pattern was for buttons and I totally forgot it was for buttons. So instead of like putting it like right inside the lining, I decided that I'm going to fold it in and then put the zipper on like that. In the future, I'll probably cut it away and then put the zipper in properly, but for now, it works. I made a quick placket out of leftover suede and folded it together. After I sewed it, I turned it out with a pencil because that's all I had on hand. Alright, so the placket is pinned on. All I have to do is sew it down. Ow. All I have to do is sew that on a straight stitch and then put some maybe snaps or hook and eyes into it so we can go like that. And then all that's left to do is the sleeves, which I gotta go find the fabric for. The sleeves are made out of organza that I had lying around for years at this point. This might be the original fabric for the first Alina cosplay I've done, but I'm not 100% sure because I just bought it like a whole bolt of it off of Amazon a long time ago, so I really don't know where it came from. I folded the pattern in half and cut on the fold to make everything easier for myself. I hate sleeves. I absolutely hate sleeves. With the commercial patterns that I buy, they only go up to a certain size, and just trying to upsize that pattern is a little difficult, so folding it in half really takes half of the equation out, and doing it on the fold also takes half of the equation out. It might be a little bit more wasteful of the fabric, but it's the best way for me to figure out sleeves. Okay, so I sewed up the, what's it called, the cuff of the sleeve, and I did it a certain way because there's like this little lip that she has that's supposed to button. I'm gonna hide that seam with 2 buttons, like on the original, and all I have to do is sew the cuff onto here before I sew the whole thing on. So I'm gonna go gather this up into this cuff, and then I'm gonna go sew it and see how it looks. Okay, so it is sewed together, and I ironed down. Oh, excuse me. I ironed down the inside to go with the cuff. I do want to throw this one in the wash just to get rid of the back line, and then I will sew it on to the vest. So I'm gonna go wash that and do the other sleeve. Okay, so I did this off camera because I just keep forgetting to film things. But one of the sleeves and all the other one's still getting washed, and I still haven't done this side yet, but that's okay. I'm gonna tell you what I did. So gathered, I'm gonna have to iron this back a little bit, but it's all gathered, all in. What I did is that I whip stitched the lining and the fashion fabric together like that. I bent like I folded them in on each other and I whip stitched them into place because it's not going to be seen, it's on the inside, just so that this doesn't like get all ugly and frays on me and things like that. So when I sewed this on, the only thing you can see is this, which is fine. I'm going to hopefully be able to iron it back or maybe tack it down on the inside so it doesn't do that. And then I gotta do the exact same thing on this side, which is still open, not with stitched at all. And I will do that later. But oh yeah, and I'm just making the A-line skirt down there, so don't worry about that. And yeah, this is 10 times better than my first attempt. It fits. I love it. I'm gonna go dry this sleeve and then I'm gonna put it on, and then the vest is actually done. So I'm gonna go take care of that and then finish up the skirt. It looks so good. Oh my goodness. I am so happy with it. Oh, gosh. Okay, the only thing that is different from the original is that this piece of bias tape is going more down than across. Happy, it's like the only minor difference. And only I will know about it, really. And then I love it. It fits. It's nice. Oh, I'm gonna go put on the old one and show you the differences. Okay, that's all. I had to put on a shirt because this doesn't fit anymore, and yeah. So, I made this back in 2019, and the differences between that one and this one are exponential. The collar is definitely 100 times better. The placket, the zipper, because like I said, I messed up and I cut the zipper a little bit. Honestly, I like the feel of that better. It's nice, it fits nice. The edges are nicer than this because I didn't even finish those. And I honestly, just the comparison between the two, like night and day, and I'm really excited and happy. So I have to add the buttons and I have to add the hook and eyes, and then it is done. Now it is time for the skirt. Hold on. Here is the original skirt. I took the chains off of it. I'm filming this after I finished everything, and I took the bow off of it because why not? As you can see, very crunchy. This is painted suede, and I wasn't happy with it. It is really short on me. Like, it comes right above my knee. I like my skirts to be below my knee, not above, because I'm very tall. I'm about 6 feet tall, and skirts, if they're really short, it's really hard to do anything in them. So remaking this skirt is going to be really fun. As you saw in the original skirt, this is a pleated skirt, but it's a little different given that the skirt is a color wheel. So I had to make panels instead of using one piece of fabric. I used white suede and dyed each piece the color that represents the wheel. Now, the color wheel skirt makes a whole lot of sense for Alina Gray because she is an artist. Although all the colors are not on the color wheel, unfortunately, I really would have loved to add the reds and oranges and like the more warm colors from the wheel, but then it would have made the skirt too big, and there's already an issue with it, which I will get to at the end of the video. I made a huge mistake in using leather dye, thinking that in my brain, suede is a type of leather. The color kept rubbing off onto my hands and other things, so I had to redo it with Rit dye in the end. I sewed the panels together with the black panels and prepared it for pleating. So this is just the preliminary of the pleated skirt, and I think it looks great after I troubleshooted the purples, the blues, and the greens. I had to redo some of the panels with just some Rit dye. I should have done that to begin with. That would have saved me so much time, energy, money, oh my God, effort. But it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. My hands are still blue, but that's okay. Everything's fine. So apparently I don't even need the orange and red panel, that I was planning on originally. It's a little dirty because it's on the floor. And yeah, no, I mean, I think it looks awesome. I'm gonna put the lining fabric in. Okay, so I ironed it down. Everything's good. I think I started with this color. I don't remember. It's hard to keep track. But it's all ironed down. Now I'm gonna go pleat it like I did before. And really just hope for the best. Make a waistband, sew it on, put a zipper in the back, and yeah, this is so much better than the first one. I might steam it after the fact, but we're gonna go see. So I'm gonna go do that. So I have the waistband clipped. Sorry, my embroidery machine is going off, but I have the waistband clipped and ready to go. I'm still debating on whether or not to hand sew it in or sew it in like this on the line that's holding the pleats together. I still have to iron it down, but I'm probably going to do that last. I'm thinking of just sewing like that, like not pulling it fully, and sew it and like ironing it down and sewing in the ditch to make it look good. So we shall see. And I'm probably going to do the same thing down here for the lining bit. And I have to go continue my embroidery for something that I am doing. So that's going to be that. And I'm debating on zipper. No zipper? I don't know. Figure that out. It will be a side closure, not a back closure this time. So I'm going to go do that. Now it is time to make the big bow and bolo tie. I use leftover suede and cut strips out to make the bow and tie, while the tails and the bolo tie are on a diagonal. I then take them and paint yellow lines on them. During this process, I decided to find the original bolo tie and use that instead because it was thinner and worked. And I just repainted it yellow. I mean, I like to take little pieces off. Like you already saw with the skirt, I took the chains off of that. And then I didn't take the original sleeves off of the vest of the cosplay, I just redid them. But I took the chains, I took the bolo tie portion, and I took the standing collar that I have for her as well because I have them and they work. I sewed the bow pieces together and glued on the tie because it's gotten too thick to hand sew it, and I do the same for the tail because, oh my goodness, hand sewing 5 different layers of suede is really difficult on the hands, and I find it sometimes just easier just to glue stuff on top of each other. Now it is time for the hat. So here's the hat that I will be taking apart. This is my original hat. You can see it has some wear and tear. I have to replace paint. I lost the gem in the middle. I need to do a lot of rethinking on this hat. But you know what? It's gonna be fine. We're gonna take it apart, and we are gonna pattern it out, and we're gonna make it slightly bigger, especially around the rim here, and then hopefully it all works out in the end. So I'm gonna pray. I decided for the hat just to scrap the original and make my own. I found this pattern on Etsy for a leather military cap and used my roll of black faux leather. This was such a fun project to learn from. I have only ever made one hat before, and it was for my Eclipse cosplay. Hats are the bane of my existence because most hats don't fit my head comfortably, especially when I wear wigs. I wanted this hat to stay attached to my head, but also sit comfortably on it, which is why I wanted to make one. I have a really big head, and add on top of a wig, it just becomes worse. If you look at my Alina cosplay, my original one, I want to go back and revisit that one too, but the hat just doesn't sit properly on my head, and I absolutely hate that hat. There is this little gem in the middle of her hat, but that's not her soul gem. Her soul gem is around her neck on the bolo tie. I made a new mold of the soul gem out of clay and silicone. Soul gems are where magical girls in Magia universe get their powers from and is a result of their wish. Again, I don't want to spoil anything of this show. It's really awesome and amazing. I absolutely fell in love with it back in 2013, and I would just go watch it. It's awesome. Please note that when you resin cast, you should wear gloves and protective gear while working with it. I didn't hear because I was in a hurry and couldn't locate my gloves. By the end of casting my resin, I only touched it once right at the end, and I was so upset. Mostly because it's really hard to wash off. You make extra gems for future projects and set them off to the side. Now, whenever I really needed them, I can just pluck them out and put them on things because I have a feeling I will be using more gems in the future. And with the finishing touches, like hooking eyes and attaching the chains and bow, Alina Gray is complete. And now it is time for the reveal. I really love how this cosplay turned out, from the colors of the skirt and to the vest fitting me so much better than the original, to the hat fitting properly. Oh, it's just, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it so much. Just everything about it is a combination of skills that I have occurred and just put into this, and it's just like, it's the best thing I've ever made. Though that doesn't mean there's not a couple issues with it. I mentioned this before about like the panels that I really wanted to use, making the skirt waistband too big. Unfortunately, it's still a little too big by a couple of inches. So in the future, I'm going to have to put some more hook and eyes on the vest and the skirt waistband in order to keep them in place while I'm moving around. It sits more like on my hip bone than actually on my waist where I really wanted it to be, so that it covers the vest. I lost my garter belt. I lost it. I don't know where it is, so I have to purchase a new one. She has a garter belt that connects to her stockings. I do have the stockings. They have been repaired. They're little fishnet stockings that have bands around them that are like made out of this fluffy material. I would have worn them, but like I said, I couldn't find my stocking garters, so it's okay. I just ordered a new pair. The sole gem isn't oily what I want it to be, but the upside is it is a mass improvement from the original sole gem that was just put together with resin and that's it. I think the issue was the silicone mold itself and the color of the green not coming through as much as I really wanted it to, and I also think it was because the gem portion of the sole gem wasn't raised enough in that. So in the future, I am going to fix that and make another one. And even though the hat fits around my glorious big head, it's not as sturdy as I want it to be because I did use cardboard for the brim and the band. Now that I know how to make one, I'm definitely going to make another one with more sturdy material inside the brim and band. But that's a project for another day. I also forgot the buttons like right here on her sleeve bands, and you know what, that's fine, it's an easy fix. I am so happy how everything turned out. I'm entering this into a craftsmanship competition at the end of January, and as well as the masquerade at Zenkai Con, so wish me all the luck. Cannot wait to get started on the next project. Hint, it has something to do with swans. If you can guess the correct cosplay in the comments, I will tell you if you're right. Thank you so much for sticking around for this sewing vlog. I'm really happy with how things are turning out here, and I will see you in the next one.